Hey everybody, today we are joined by Alexander Wulff, co-founder and CEO at Nume and Scale Up Finance. While most founders are still wrestling with spreadsheets and manual bookkeeping, Alexander is building the finance brain of every founder they wish they had. His new company, Nume, is the first AI CFO for startups and born from his experience as CEO and co-founder of Scale Up Finance. Alex, thank you so much for taking the time to join today.
Thank you for having me. It's I've been looking forward to it.
Awesome. So I thought we could get started with maybe just a little bit of your personal journey. Where did you get started and how did you get to scale up finance and eventually Noom?
Yeah, well, I started my first VC-backed company back in 2010, which was a very different company to both Scale Up Finance and Noom. It was a deep tech company. We developed a new type of concrete, like the building material concrete, and spent 11 years building up the company. We started in Denmark, got some traction after around like took 5 or 6 years, then started internationalizing. But I don't know, like after 11 years, I was like, something new had to happen because we had just reached so many milestones of the goals that we said the company had become profitable. So I teamed up with two new guys, two serial entrepreneurs that I knew from Denmark. One of them is actually one of my best friends, and we wanted to solve the biggest pain point that we had been sitting with, like experiencing running our own companies, financial management.
Okay, that's amazing. And obviously that was scale up finance. And you co-founded that with Nikolai and Thor after a conversation on a summer trip. How important were those relationships and chance encounters in shaping your entrepreneurial path, Alexander?
They have been like absolutely decisive. When I talk to people that strive to become entrepreneurs, they want to start a new company and they are starting pretty much from ground zero. I always say like the only way you can start is by meeting great, ambitious people. It is like when I look back on my life and how it has evolved, everything has been due to me, meeting the right people, starting to work with these people. So it's not only how you start, it's also actually how you like build a great company after you get started. And the funny story about how I met Nikolai back in the days was it was actually back in high school, and I was already having the thoughts that I'm sharing right now, and I was quite ambitious. I was trying to get as good grades in my high school as possible, and I just felt like everybody else, they just wanted to drink beer and just really not do to do the stuff that you needed to do, which is fine. I also drank beers and these kind of things. But then I did something pretty crazy. I signed up for the Conservative Youth Party and got into the board of directors there. Where I met Nikolai. And we had no ambitions to become politicians. We just had this idea. Maybe, like at our age back then, around 15, 16, maybe that's where you might be able to meet some ambitious people. And so it happened. But you need to do something where you don't know the outcome. You don't know if you will meet people, but you might. And then, hopefully luck will strike you.
That's amazing. No, I always agree. I tell people that you just have to sometimes say yes and be open to opportunities. How I started Open Tools is I met Mackenzie, which is the original founder of Open Tools, while just traveling on a trip in Spain. And we met through another friend, and he was in Spain for 2 days. I had been living there for 3 months, and we just got to talking about AI media, discussing that, and I mean, here I am today. So I feel like all the good entrepreneurial conversations start with a good conversation, a yes, and some good ideas.
Yeah.
When you started Scale Up Finance, obviously it's grown so far, um, but you felt the even bigger opportunity building Noom. Could you tell me a little bit more about Noom? And
Yeah, so Nume is our AI CFO, and Scala Finance is our CFO as a service, as we call it. the thing is, when we started Scale Up Finance 4 years ago in 2021, we started it with a pretty special kind of business model. So we started hiring a lot of CFOs in a like tech plus service, tech enabled service model, and then we hired a lot of engineers and began building this kind of software platform where the goal was to supercharge our CFOs so they would be able to serve even more clients and do a much better job. But then at some point, make it so like actually turn this software into a self-serve version that we would then start selling on a standalone basis. So our CFOs have been using have been using this platform, and that part of the company is still running. Where we are we are operating as we call fractional CFOs for all our clients. But then the foundational models came, and we had been thinking about how we could build in AI in this kind of more SaaS platform that we were building for. We had a lot of ideas for how to use, but then the models came, and 1 year ago we were like, it was kind of an inflection point in a way where I remember my CPO came to me and said, Alex, like after Claude 3.5 Sonnet came out, what we are seeing right now in product and the POCs we're building, it's the speed is just incredible. We are able to build much faster, much better. Long story short, we found it to be so existential that we completely changed our view on what like kind of the winning product would look like within fintech, within financial management for SMEs. And then so we still have the old platform, but we completely said no, we'll actually discontinue building more on this. We're going to build Nume, the world's first AI CFO, because that was essentially what we're able to do.
Okay, wow. And I know that we worked actually together at Open Tools about 8 months ago, where
Yeah.
you guys launched in private beta. So since those 8 months, how has the feedback been from those early users?
I think it's been just incredible.
Amazing.
The thing about the people that we are serving is that they have been kind of locked out of the market for decades. So we have built Noom. We are building Noom for all the people that don't have a CFO, and that's like 95% of all businesses out there. Typically you don't hire CFO until you hit maybe 60, 70 employees, something like that. Due to two very simple reasons. You don't have a CFO, or no, you can't afford a CFO, but you also don't have enough tasks to really justify hiring a full time. So the situation that was me in my old company, and for so many other founders I know out there, is that you as the CEO of your company or as the founder of the company, you are de facto your own CFO, and like 95% of the market of this ICP or this buyer persona I'm talking about, they are using some kind of accountancy company that are doing the bookkeeping for them, maybe running their payroll and then doing their annual report. But everything else, doing the budgeting, doing the forecast, like liquidity forecasting, reporting, and all these kind of things, it's up to themselves. So what has been noted like a lot by our early customers has been, I think it has been a lot about the accessibility, because previously they have not really had access to CFO level insights or competencies, but so they have, a lot of them have been using their accountant to in some way as kind of their go-to person if they had any questions. And the accountant will not give them an answer in 1 minute or 2 minutes. Often they will get an answer after 2 days or 1 week or something like that, because these people, they also serving other clients, and they have to fit in whatever question or query you have. So I think like the accessibility, and then I think what has really has been really interesting to hear. I was talking to a couple of our beta users last week. They said the most funny thing. They said, because one of them actually had an internal finance employee, and he said, Alex, what just dawned on me is that there's so many questions I never asked that person, because I feel like an idiot. I feel silly for asking these questions. So he described finance before Noom as being this very siloed thing where he actually had somebody who was sitting on the finance function internally, but he didn't feel empowered. He didn't feel like he understood or knew how they were actually performing, how were their liquidity looking. Um, and you don't feel silly when you talk to software, right? Because it doesn't really have any bad opinions about you.
Of course, and I think that my chat GPT history is a great testament to that when it comes to stupid questions. In
Exactly.
ter in terms of exactly what Noom does, your LinkedIn post described Noom as kind of like a multi-agent setup. Can you unpack a little bit more about what that means and how it actually improves finance management for founders?
Yeah. Um, so the thing is that if you use LLMs today for financial management, they will be completely overloaded by numbers and data and a lot of unstructured data because like what are you looking at? Are you looking at what kind of transaction is it? Is it like liquidity you're looking at, or is it your P&L? What are you looking at really? The way we have structured Noom is that we have a swarm of agents that are basically collaborating to break down whatever task or query that you have. So, we have agents that are directing other agents. We have agents that are like just responsible for retrieving data. Then we have other agents that are evaluating that data, making sure that it's accurate, which is like extremely important. And we've been working a lot on that part. After that, we have various different agents that are analyzing the data, and again, it depends on what kind of thing are we looking at, which agents are being activated now. When that has been analyzed, there's a lot of analysis. Then we have other agents that are synthesizing this and making sure that it is in a very short, crisp way. That in with your tone of voice settings, I have my own pretty funny tone of voice setting with Noom where I've told it I have ADHD. I don't actually, but so I've told it to use surprising language and emojis and stuff like that. So it's actually hilarious to be chatting with Noom. And then we have also have visualization agents, and all of this is happening bespoke for all users on the spot. Like there's nothing is hard coded. So we have our own rendering engine that is rendering whatever the visualization agents are visualizing for you, right? So it's actually very very complex what we've built. And the funny thing when our users, when they see it and they start using it, like this is really simple and intuitive and easy. And I'm like, that's actually the best thing the best feedback you can get, right? But they should just, if they just knew what is under the hood, then I think they would be overwhelmed.
Well, I think just like a sports car, something's really complicated, but it comes off easy to the consumer
Yeah, yeah.
and beautiful and nice, then it's design. So obviously you come from an e-commerce product strategy and finance backgrounds. How have those experiences influenced the design and vision of Noom?
Yeah, I think first of all, I am in my own ICP. Me and the rest of the team, we are building the product that we always wanted to have ourselves. Because I have been the de facto CFO of my own companies since I became a founder. Not because I wanted to, because you have two goals, like you have two things you need to succeed with when you run a company, and that's building product and making sure you sell it. And finance is basically this back office administrative function. Like nobody thinks it's funny, me neither. And so I actually ended up studying finance while when I was at university. And the funny thing, that was even before I thought about becoming an entrepreneur. But I actually did it because it's like, okay, fuck, finance, that's kind of a hard skill. There are some rules, some logic you need to adhere to. So I wanted to get as much of that compared to, let's say, studying strategy or business more generally. So yeah, we have tried to use our previous experience and to build the best possible product, a product that we love to use ourselves.
It's amazing. And obviously it would be unfair for me not to ask, like, when people come to the idea of Noom and they come to managing their finances with AI, obviously the lack of the human element, the reason why people go to their accountants is because they might trust that person. What is the thing that you are often saying to people who might have the objection that they don't want AI to be handling all of their finances?
I think the most like finance, is not something you just offload. Finance, even though it's a back office function, it's the most important thing is that the information gets into the brain of the CEO, right? Because you are running the company, so you need to know how you're performing. You need to know what your liquidity is looking like. When are you running out of money? All of these things. So in a sense, finance is, something that is very collaborative. Of course, there's a lot of tasks and jobs to be done, but it's also very collaborative. And that's why I think AI has a huge opportunity within finance, because finance, if you are not from that world, can feel very first boring. That's what I hear from a lot of people, but also just like with the legal space, sometimes you're overwhelmed by the phrases or the words and you don't really understand it. um, so referring back to what I said before about some of the feedback we have gotten, that in actually on a lot of different parameters, our beta customers right now, they say they prefer Nume and AI CFO over a human person, because they don't feel silly, because they get an answer like immediately, because they can do it in the evenings and in the weekends, and because it's never sick. All of these kind of things, that's just coming because it's software and it's AI, not something we invented per se, but just because it's software. And hopefully that can also enable existing finance people to kind of move high up in the pyramid and focus on some things, because of course Noom today, there are things that a human person will do better, and all of those are related more to, I'd say, yeah, things a human can do, like, or should do in terms of compliance, so like reporting stuff to the authorities, reporting VAT, and your annual reports. Like, Noom can't do that just yet, at least. So you still need a human to do that for you.
Okay, amazing. And then I have to ask, what's next for Noom? When can our audience expect a public rollout, new features, or markets on the horizon?
Yeah, it's extremely exciting. We have been in private beta now, for, I don't know, a half a year's time, and we are now actually building the last part of the product. So far we have been building, could say, the core of the product, but now we are actually building the last thing, the self-serve onboarding. So you can get onboarded in 5 minutes, which is, I think, quite incredible. We have like the most amazing onboarding experience. You get started, you connect to your ERP, you connect to your bank account, you can connect to your Slack, for example, and then Noom will actually be proactive and actually Slack you about a lot of things. So that's the last thing. Once is done, in a couple of weeks, we'll start onboarding in waves of initially 50. Then later we'll go to 100 from our waitlist. We have a waitlist right now, and then we have been, so the current users right now were some of the ones that signed up the first. But now we'll start to do an even bigger, onboard even more from that. And then we are shooting for, you could say, like a big public launch where everybody can just go onto a site and get onboarded in like 2 or 3 months. We haven't set the date just yet.
That's amazing. I mean, it sounds really cool. It sounds like something we could use, honestly. So might see you at the public launch.
Yeah.
Um, Alexander, normally we do just a quick little lightning round after with two questions that I love to ask founders. One is, do you have like a daily ritual or something that you do just to stay focused as an entrepreneur and a leader?
I have actually lately started to do a lot of walks. I also run a lot, and I feel like if I a lot of days in running a startup, is tough. But whenever I finish my day and I go for either a run or a walk, it's kind of my brain resets, and then I can, actually also just be myself and not think too much about all the things that we need to do and succeed with in scale up. So running, walking, I think is really great.
That's amazing. I love a long walk when I need to think of a million different things. And I guess the second lightning question is there a tool in AI that you're using right now that you're loving?
I think I have a very boring answer, and that's well, of course, I'm using Noom, but if I can mention that, it's actually ChatGPT. I don't know if it's just me, but I've been using ChatGPT now for what, 2 years, and with the memory function, it's just it feels like it's getting increasingly good the more you use it. When it just has all the knowledge, and then I've started using the voice mode because I feel like getting value out of AI is a lot about like how much do you want to prompt, like how many times do you hit your keyboard, and I feel like a lot of people, it's actually like that hassle about sitting there and writing and writing and writing. So the new voice mode. I've found to be incredible, especially when you're walking, because then you just get so many words out, and it just doesn't feel like a big thing. And you can sometimes I've been walking for 1 hour and I feel like I have done some, let's say, thinking where I've been using ChatGPT that corresponds to 8 hours of, I don't know, work almost.
Oh no, it's amazing. Honestly, it's kind of sad, but I always tell people ChatGPT is my best friend. But
Yeah.
the voice mode is incredible. I've been practicing Spanish, and so I actually like upgraded a while ago, and I learned that I could actually just speak to it and have conversational Spanish, and it really helped me practice. Because as you mentioned with Noom and the AI function, it's hard to embarrass yourself in front of AI,
Yeah.
so it's a lot easier to expose yourself. Alex, I'm just wondering, in terms of where people can follow you and follow Noom and Scale Up Finance about what's next.
Yeah, well, everybody can go into Nume.ai to and sign up for the waitlist if they want early access. We're actually relaunching the website in a couple of weeks, but the waitlist is still there. Then I'm pretty active on LinkedIn, and you can also follow Nume on LinkedIn, where we also are sharing a lot of updates.
Amazing. And I'll link that all below in every platform that I share this interview. Alexander, thank you so much for taking the time to meet today and discuss a little bit more about Noom. And I hope you have a good rest of your day.
Yeah, thank you, Jacob, and you too.
See you soon.